there are two schools of thoughts. It's best to exercise during the fasting window, and the second one says that it's best to exercise in the feeding window. Confused? Well, you won't be anymore after you listen to today's episode, because I am going to demystify when is the best time to work out when you are following intermittent fasting. Hi, I'm Avantii Deshpaande, a clinical and sports nutritionist, author, speaker, entrepreneur, and a fit mom. Welcome to my podcast, Eat Smart with Avantii, reconnecting you back to the Indian roots. Before I begin with the part 3 of demystifying intermittent fasting, let's quickly recap part 1 and 2. Is intermittent fasting a fad, or is there some scientific evidence supporting it? That is exactly what I spoke about in part 1 of the 3 series on demystifying intermittent fasting. What is fasting? Its resemblance to upvas according to Ayurvedic science. How does intermittent fasting help in autophagy, healing the gut, and using intermittent fasting to your advantage to lose weight based on body's circadian rhythm? So, if you want to demystify intermittent fasting, pause this one. Go back to part 1, followed by part 2, and then you can listen to the third part. In part 2, I spoke at length about how to decide the feeding window. What is the best time of the day to break the fast? How to eat to nourish and to heal the body. And of course, to burn fat in the feeding window. And the foods that are permitted in the fasting window. Now, we demystify the biggest concern. When is the best time for workouts when you're following intermittent fasting? Is it the fasting window or is it the feeding window? When a client would come to my clinic with this query, my first question would be, what is your health goal? Is it A, weight loss, B, improving endurance, or C, building muscles? Because the exercise is mostly dependent on these 3 things. Often, there is an overlap on the health goal. Like most people I met who follow intermittent fasting look at weight loss as a major health goal. But as a sports nutritionist, the fitness enthusiast and the sportsman whom I consult have an aim of improving their endurance, pace, stamina, better recovery. And for the gym buffs, it's more muscle building, cutting out the fat percentage to get that chiseled body. And then, how can you use intermittent fasting for your advantage to achieve this? An interesting topic for long-term performance benefits is the train high, compete low concept. That means performing most of your training fasted or at least with low muscle glycogen levels. By doing so, you train your body to rely more on fat as a fuel source during exercise. Then, when it's competition time, you load up the carbs and get the benefit of both improved fat burning and filled glycogen stores. You are slowly training your body to use fat as a fuel even in the fed state, and that's a complete win-win situation. It's an interesting theory, but so far, research has not shown any consistent benefits from fasted training, and more research is needed. If any one of you has experimented this and seen positive results, please put it in the comments section. I would love to hear back from you, and we can probably have a podcast together. One important aspect that you must consider is how healthy you are, meaning how well do you plan the nutrition during the feeding window. So, more than deciding just when to work out, either in the fasted or the fed state, pay attention to what you're eating in the feeding window. Confused? Let me make it simple with the help of an example. Rita was following a calorie deficit diet on intermittent fasting and working out in the fasting state to see quick weight loss results. She approached me when she started feeling too tired and exhausted in the day and felt something was not right in the diet. Along with the diet recall, we also got some blood tests done. As expected, she had low hemoglobin and low levels of B12. So we changed the diet in terms of improving these levels, and along with that, we also changed the combination of food groups in the diet from a low calorie to a low carb diet, and keeping the protein and the good fats on the higher side. Now, the plus point of doing this was that she could exercise well in a fasted state and no more tiredness, just because she had started nourishing herself well. See, this is what I meant. We're going to take a short break here, and after that, I'll come back and we are going to discuss how you will follow intermittent fasting and whether you'll exercise in the fasted or the fed state for low intensity, moderate intensity, and then high intensity workouts. Intermittent fasting and low intensity workouts. Low intensity workouts include walking at a casual pace, light jogging, swimming laps for about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes of elliptical machine, light weight training, and cycling at a casual pace. The maximal heart rate would be about 98 to 108 in the low intensity workouts, burning approximately 100 to 250 kilocalories. This would be a beginner level workout or for people who find it difficult to have a 1 hour of workout or intense workout due to their busy schedule. For some people, building endurance might not be the goal, and that is absolutely okay. They just want to incorporate exercise as means of being fit and maintaining or losing weight. For such people, including low intensity workouts during the fasting window is an amazing idea, and they can reap the benefits to lose weight better. Here's how that happens. When you haven't eaten for a long time, like say an overnight fast, your body is primed to burn fat. You use energy from your fat stores instead of relying on carbs from your last meal. When you haven't eaten for hours, your insulin levels are low. Your glucose stores and blood glucose levels are down, and your body is full of fatty acids. These two combined, that means that you oxidize or burn more fat when exercising in a fasted state than you have eaten. But this is purely based on personal preferences and making sure that you do not have any underlying medical condition like diabetes, where hypoglycemia can be a very dangerous situation. Let me share 2 real-life examples of my consultations. Mr. Sridhar, age 35, wanted to lose weight. We started with a diet plan, modifying the food groups like high protein, moderate fats, and moderate carbs. He is a software engineer and has to travel 1.5 hours one way to work and cannot find time more than 20 minutes of the day for working out, which is commendable. We shifted him to a 10 hours feeding window and a 14 hours of fasting window, and he started workouts during the fasting window, and the results were amazing. He overcame the weight loss plateau and saw great results in the body composition. Now another client, Akash, age 25, cannot wake up in the morning early and more of a night person. He did not want to have multiple meals in the day and happy to follow intermittent fasting with the 8 hours of feeding window and 16 hours of fasting window. He exercised in the evening after he finished his last meal at 6 p.m. and consumed nothing after that till the next day morning. He was very happy and felt more energetic during the workout when he had this last big meal. So, to each his own. Scientific evidence does not support morning workouts or exercising on an empty stomach as a superior way to improve body composition. Unfortunately, your body is too intelligent to be tricked like that. Undoubtedly, you burn more fat during the exercise when performed during the fasting window. But fat burning must be considered over the course of day and not on hour-to-hour basis. If you look at the day, your body compensates by burning less fat or storing more fat during the rest of the day after the fasted state. The result is no difference in fat lost over a period of time. But if you're looking at breaking a weight loss plateau, or probably you want to see faster results only for a short period of time, then you could experiment in exercising at the fasted state and then later on going back at exercising whenever you are comfortable. Intermittent fasting and moderate intensity workouts. Moderate intensity workouts you target a heart rate of 65 to 76% of your maximal heart rate. Let me make this simple for you. Your maximal heart rate is based on the age. So, a person who is age 50 years, maximal heart rate is 170 beats per minute, and 65 to 76% of the maximal heart rate is 109 to 129 beats per minute. You can find a calculator online which measures your maximal heart rate, and based on that, you can find out the exercise intensity that you're doing, whether it's low intensity, moderate, or high intensity. The smartwatches available these days help you to find out the maximal heart rate, and of course will help you to measure the exercise intensity. And this is very effective when you want to see measured results. So if your health goal is serious, then it's worth investing and getting a smartwatch. Examples of moderate intensity workouts include aerobic activities like brisk walking for 5 kilometers in 1 hour's time, cycling for about 15 kilometers, water aerobics, a game of tennis, swimming for about 30 minutes, and even moderate intensity resistance or weight training is also a moderate intensity workout. Moderate intensity workouts will burn between 300 to 600 kilocalories per activity. Like the low intensity workouts, moderate intensity too can give an advantage if you are doing it in a fasted state. But as mentioned earlier, the nutrition throughout the day is important to ensure that you are healthy and can take up the intense workouts. Sometimes, moderate intensity workouts can have bouts of high intensity workouts or high maximal heart rates for short intervals. One of my clients does 16 to 20 kilometers of outdoor cycling for exercise 4 times a week. The target heart rate is about 130 beats per minute. But at times, when there is a climb, there will be an increase in the heart rate which will be about 160 to 170 beats per minute. This is a short bout for about 3 to 5 minutes, but we need to account that as well. So, on the days where the cycling will be there, we will start with a small snack of protein, say like almonds and walnuts before the exercise. Or then, at times we break the fast and start the feeding window immediately after the cycling exercise is done. I want you to remember one thing for sure. If there is too much calorie restriction or there is more calorie deficit, there are chances that the body starts reducing the metabolism to compensate the less nutrition. In that case, you are at a disadvantage, where the body turns into a fat storage machine rather than a fat burning one. So, plan your moderate intensity workouts, keeping this in mind for sure. Now, very interesting topic for the gym goers who are looking into muscle build-up and exercising in the fasted state for moderate intensity training. Muscle hypertrophy occurs when muscle protein synthesis exceeds muscle protein breakdown and result in a positive net protein balance in cumulative periods. Resistance training helps in muscle hypertrophy, and that is how the muscles grow. But the muscle protein synthesis should be more than the breakdown. Fasted strength training stimulates muscle growth, but the muscle protein breakdown exceeds the muscle protein synthesis until you don't eat. You can think of strength training as a switch that activates muscle protein synthesis, but that activation remains limited without protein. There are 3 ways to go about it, which I usually use it for my clients. The first is keeping the workouts towards the end of the fasting window so that you can have a high protein meal to ensure muscle hypertrophy. The second way is to keep the weight training 1 hour after the last meal, which is generally a high protein meal. And the next day when you break the fast, you can again start with a high protein meal. The third option is to perform resistance training or weight training during the feeding window, and this appears to be the most comfortable way of going about it. Now again, one more thing I would like to add here. If you're trying to decrease the fat percentage and get a ripped body, often working out towards the end of the fasting window seems to be a brilliant idea. But again, this can be done for a short duration of time and then you go back to choosing whatever is the exercise window you want. Intermittent fasting and high intensity workouts. Target heart rate is between 77% to 93% of the maximal heart rate. Your maximal heart rate is based on age. So a person who is 35 years old, the target heart rate for high intensity workouts would be 142 to 172 beats per minute. Examples of high intensity workouts is HIIT, hiking, uphill running, aerobic dancing, spinning, and even high intensity weight training. Calorie burn might be anywhere between 800 to 1200 plus kilocalories burned during the entire activity. Usually, these workouts might be done about 4 to 5 times a week and days of recovery or light intensity workouts in between. People who follow such patterns focus more on endurance building, and this could sometimes be coupled with reduction in the fat percentage or losing weight. In such clients, what we usually do is we follow separate patterns for the days of high intensity workouts and the days of recovery. The days of intensive workout, we plan a small snack before the workout or even after it and reduce the fasting window. Usually, we would follow a pattern of 12 hours of feeding window and 12 hours of fasting window on the intense workout days. And the recovery days, we could keep the fasting as 16 hours or 14 hours and accordingly keep the feeding window as 8 hours or 10 hours. But here's a disclaimer. Intensive workouts need tailor-made nutrition plans, and we work very closely with these clients to decide the individual health goal and then draw a plan which needs to be revisited and adjusted every now and then. Finally, I would like to just touch upon athletes or sports person like triathlon training, marathon, competitive sports, team sports, weightlifting sports, and intermittent fasting. As a sports nutritionist, I work very close to the athlete and plan the nutrition accordingly. Intermittent fasting might not be a great idea when we have to achieve certain goal like improving endurance, strength, or stamina, but could be used judiciously during the periodization under expert supervision only. So to sum it up, exercise during the fasting can be used at an advantage to lose weight. The intensity of the workouts will determine whether you should be working out in the fasted state or near feeding window or during the feeding window. Hope you liked today's episode. Stay tuned next week. We come up with another interesting topic related to nutrition and fitness. Please show me your love and support by sharing this podcast with your family and friends. And do not forget to follow us as we come up with new content every week. Have a beautiful week ahead.